Hey guys, welcome to the YouTube channel. So today I'm going to tell you about the story called The Unseen Reflections. Let's start. The old isolated mansion on the outskirts of town had always been a source of local legends. Whispers of a tragic history clung to its walls like shadows, and it stood shrouded in mystery. On a misty autumn evening, a group of four friends, Alex, Maya, Eric, and Sophie, decided to investigate the truth behind the mansion's haunting tales. With flashlights in hand and hearts pounding, they ventured into the dilapidated building. The air inside was thick with a musty odor, and a sense of foreboding crept over them. The faded wallpaper peeled like the skin of a decaying creature, and the floorboards creaked under their footsteps. As they explored the mansion's dimly lit rooms, they stumbled upon a dusty mirror that seemed oddly out of place. The mirror's glass was clouded, its frame ornately carved with intricate designs. Sophie hesitated, a chill running down her spine, before she reached out to touch it. The moment her fingers made contact with the glass, the room seemed to grow colder, and the flashlight beams flickered. Startled, they turned to leave, but the exit they had come through was gone. Panic swept through them as they realized they were trapped within the mansion's twisted labyrinth. The mirror had trapped them within its grasp. As they navigated the mansion's winding corridors, they found themselves caught in a loop, each hallway leading them back to the mirror. Hours stretched into an eternity as they struggled to escape the mirror's sinister enchantment. The flashlights cast airy shadows on the walls, and the flickering lights played tricks on their minds. Exhausted and desperate, they regrouped in a room that seemed unfamiliar, yet hauntingly familiar at the same time. Alex noticed that the mirror was in this room as well. Its glass reflected their tired and terrified faces. But there was not something different about their reflections, something subtly twisted. As they stared at the mirror, their reflections began to move independently, their faces contorting into grotesque smiles. The friends screamed, but their voices muffled by the oppressive silence that seemed to absorb their cries. Maya, of the supernatural, was forced to approach the mirror. Her reflection mimicked her movements, but its grin grew wider and more menacing. The others watched in horror as Maya's reflection reached out to the mirror, its hand passing through the glass and wrapping around Maya's throat. She gasped for air, her real hands clawing at her own neck as if trying to break the grip of her reflection. With a final, choked breath, Maya collapsed to the ground, lifeless. The remaining friends were paralyzed with fear. Eric and Sophie tried to flee, but the mansion seemed to shift around them, trapping them once again in the room with the malevolent mirror. They were in a nightmare from which there was no escape. As hours turned into days, the mansion's walls seemed to close in, its corridors twisting and wrapping. Eric and Sophie's reflection in the mirror grew more distorted, mirroring their own growing desperation and madness. The line between reality and illusion blurred, and they struggled to distinguish between the two. With a flicker of hope, Sophie realized that they were caught in a cycle that revolved around the mirror. She recalled something from the legends about the mansion. The mirror was said to be a gateway to a realm where time and reality twisted. She understood that breaking the mirror's hold required breaking the cycle. In a desperate act of defiance, Sophie smashed the mirror with a piece of broken furniture. The glass shattered, and the mansion's hold over them seemed to weaken. The distorted reflection in the shattered mirror twisted and contorted, letting out haunting cries. With a final, gut-wrenching shriek, the reflection dissolved into nothingness, and the mansion's grip on Eric and Sophie released. As the broken glass scattered on the floor, the room began to shift and warp once more. Eric and Sophie stumbled out of the room and into the mansion's entrance hall. The mansion itself groaned and protested as its supernatural bolt shattered. With a burst of strength, they burst through the front door and into the cool, fresh air of the night. The mansion collapsed behind them, its curse broken at last. Days later, the town discovered the remains of the mansion in ruins. Eric and Sophie recounted their harrowing experience, but many dismissed it as an elaborate story. The only proof they had was a shot of the broken mirror, its glass still cold and unsettling to the touch. The tale of the mansion faded into the town's history, becoming just another ghostly whisper on the wind. But Eric and Sophie knew the truth. The unseen reflections within the mirror were a reflection of their deepest fears, and they had escaped a nightmare that was all too real. This was all for this video. If you like it, subscribe. Thank you.